Hi, welcome to Box on the Box Rock and Celluloid, Bot Brat for short. I'm Edward Box, so I'm going to rank the 19 studio albums by German hard rock legends of Scorpions today. I'm going to add in an extra wildcard album to make it 20 because I like round numbers. Without further ado, let's get on with it. So my number 20 slot goes to the 1999 release Eye to Eye. This is a perfect example of when a band gets so far away from their sound, their core sound, in pursuit of trying to stay relevant that they lose all their original fans. I quite like the track Yellow Butterfly on this, but it's virtually a pop album. Even the album cover's dreadful. It just, I really feel for the bands at this time, you know, when they're struggling with their identity because of grunge, because of new metal, because the market's not there, and they're trying to maintain that level they used to. So that's my number 20 choice, and not having a good run, my number 19 choice is the album before that, Pure Instinct from 1996. It's got a shitty album cover, bad Photoshop job. Wild Child's alright, the ballad You and I's okay, but it's just it's a bland sort of version of the type and a lighter version of what they've been doing on Crazy World and Face the Heat. Again, they seem to be like doing music more for the European Eastern Bloc market that's opened up in the wake of the Crazy World success. Keith Olsen produced some of this, but it's not a good record. Okay, number 18, a bit unfair, but it's Lonesome Crow. It does have its fans, this, and it's interesting. It's produced by Connie Plank, who's a legendary krautrock producer. I think this album's kind of like Rock-a-Roller or Saxon's debut. There's not much on here that sounds like the Scorpions, and technically the band kind of split up after this, about 73. Then they get together with members of Dawn Road, and that re-amalgamates to be the new Scorpions, and kind of Fly Like the Rainbow is the first proper album of Uli. I'm Going Mad would be quite well known. In Search of Peace of Mind is good. That's a track they play live quite a lot. Michael Schenker did it. I do think that's really good. The title track's 13 minutes and 31. You know, it's got a lot of space rock stuff. This would have been popular in Germany. I mean, UFO were popular for doing space rock. It's quite heavy in places. There's definitely some heavy distorted guitar as well. Michael soloing is interesting on this because he's not arrived yet. There's flashes, but it's mainly just sort of quickish sort of pentatonic stuff. But if you actually listen to live bootlegs, he does a solo spot later on, you can see why UFO got him in. If UFO heard this album, they probably wouldn't have their head turned, I think. But when he supported them live, his playing developed. So that's my my number 18. Interestingly enough, we actually had a reissue of this when I was a kid. My brother had it. It was the Rodney Matthews picture disc reissue, which just didn't really suit anyway. Okay, my next one is, they're really not doing very well in that 90s period. It's Face the Heat. This album's interesting. I remember when it came out, I got a tape copy off someone. I didn't like Crazy World, so I was like, I've given the game away a bit there, haven't I? And I was like, oh, right, let's have a listen to this. I do love Alien Nation. I think Alien Nation's one of the heaviest tracks the band ever did. The intro's great. It's really powerful. The production's good. It's big. It's bombastic. And No Pain, No Gain's really good. I noticed that's co-written by Mark Hudson. He's the guy, I think he is friends of Sharon Osbourne. So they're starting to use the outside writer thing here. It's always been Rudy and Klaus and a few others. And this is something that will carry on from there on in. But it's got two excellent openers, and then Someone to Touch, Under the Same Sun, Unholy Alliance, excellent track, really good. And then just just a load of dodgy rockers. Yeah, I'd give this 4 out of 10. But the three tracks that are really good are really good. You know, if you could have had 3 other tracks of that quality, you'd have like a good 6 out of 10 album. So the attempt to go heavier with Alien Nation was the right move. They should have pursued that. And my next choice is Crazy World. I remember getting this album at the time. Obviously, this was a big album for the band, but it was false economy to me. This went double platinum in the States, but it sold 7 million copies on the worldwide. But it was on the back of Wind of Change, the soppy, whipsily ballad. And that opened up doors for the Scorpions that they didn't really want it to, they shouldn't have gone through really. With, hindsight now, listening now, I think I gave it about half a dozen spins at the time, but I just wasn't into it. Listen to it now, it's a 6 out of 10. Tease Me, Please Me is good fun. It's a bit daft. Don't Believe Her, really good track. To Be With Heaven, pretty decent. Wind of Change, I do like it. It's a nice track. It's got its place, and it's got its reason to be, and I've grown to like it. Restless Nights was alright. Lust of Love was crap. Kicks After 6 was crap. Hit Between the Eyes is good. Good later track. Don't Like Money and Fame. Crazy World's okay. Send Me an Angel is a good ballad. Like I say, it's well produced. It's got some good tracks. It's the last album where it's all written by the band, apart from Jim Vallance gets in on Don't Believe Her, I think. So a big album for the band, but just coming in a difficult period. Things are about to change, and the Scorpions probably think, oh, this is the way to go. But in the gap between this and the Face the Heat, it's not the way to go. Okay, so my number 15 position, this is Return to Forever. This is their 8th studio album. It came out in 2015. This was the album we didn't think we'd get, because remember we thought they'd be splitting up, packing and touring and so on. They kind of went back through a lot of older tracks for this. If you actually go on Wikipedia, which I'm on now, it's, there's a lot of tracks of stuff that are new, but there's a lot of tracks that they've kind of pulled out the archives, a bit like Van Halen did for Different Kind of Truth. It's a funny one, this. There's no, there's not many, but there's only one bad track, but it just, it has a lack of great tracks. It starts with Going Out With a Bang. This is co-written by Martin Hansen, Mikael Nord-Andersson as well, so these are the co-producers. I quite like this track. It's not great, but it's good. We Built This House is probably the best track on the album. The chorus is great. It just could have a better verse. Rock My Car is pretty naff, but it's fun. I quite kind of like it. House of Cards is like a ballad. It's okay. All For One's quite catchy. It's alright. Rock and Roll Band. It's alright. Catch Your Look and Play. This is one of the better tracks on the album. Rolling Home's quite a nice track. Hard Rockin' the Place. Yeah, this is one of the best tracks on the album. Hard Rockin' the Place and Catch Your Look and Play. We Built This House stand out. The Storm's like a ballad. It's alright. The Scratch. This is the one shit track on the album. It's shite. It's written, lyrics are by the Anderson guy. It's written by them. What the fuck? Terrible. Gypsy Life, it's an okay ballad. So this is actually the single album as proper, 47 minutes, 38 seconds. Then you get kind of 3 ballads on the bonus one I've got. You got The World We Used to Know, Dancing in the Moonlight, When the Truth's Alive, Who We Are. Who We Are is good. The World We Used to Know, I actually like that. It's a nice kind of pop thing. Dancing in the Moonlight's not great. Then there's a Japanese edition with even more tracks. And then they did a kind of deluxe edition, which has got Delirious on and One and One is 3. Even more tracks. So I think with this, it was basically, let's just get everything out there. If you go, online, there's this playlist with loads of Scorpions tracks that are kind of unreleased or found on funny things. I'd give this a 6 out of 10. It's the last album with James Kotak on drums. Rest in peace. It's all right. It's perfectly not unenjoyable. It just lacks great tracks. Again, this might be controversial. My next one is Sting in the Tail, the album that comes before it. There was a lot of raving about this when the album came out. Oh, they're getting back to basics, and it's like, well, I liked what they were doing. So I kind of found this album a bit sort of, meat and potatoes, Raised on Rock's catchy enough. This is the first time with Nord and Hansen producing. But I like Raised on Rock. I don't like Sting in the Tail. I don't like Slave Me. The Good Die Young. There's 4 ballads on this album, and I think they're the best tracks. It's a good track with Tarja on vocals. No Limit is really catchy. Rock Zone, that's pretty crap. Lorelei, sorry, another really good ballad. Turn You On's a catchy track. Let's Rock, the title says it all. It's pretty lame. Sly, really good ballad. And then The Spirit of Rock. a nice rocker. And then my wedding dance song, The Best Is Yet to Come. If I was doing my wedding now, I probably wouldn't pick that track, but at the time it seemed to sum up, and my wife and I were listening to them. She's a big Scorpions fan as well, so that's why we picked that. But the tracks are well arranged. There's a couple of tracks over 5 minutes, all the rest are under 4 or just over 4. There's Thunder and Light, which is a bonus track, and you've got a premium edition which has Dreamers and Too Far. I give this album a 6 out of 10. It's mastered incredibly loud, but I remember getting this album, I was really excited. I put the headphones on, but you know, it's one of those things, it just needs the naff tracks removing, and you know, just finding some better tracks in there. Okay, my number 13 is Fly to the Rainbow. This is a good sort of proggy sort of album. You got Speedy's Cummings, brilliant. Fly to the Rainbow, Drifting Sun, some great guitar work. They're still finding their way out of the space rock, sort of krautrock thing a bit with this. But it's got some live favourites, and I do like it. I don't think it's a great record, but it is good. Okay, my next choice is quite controversial, number 12. I think this is a good album. I don't love it as much as when it first came out, but I do think it's good. I don't understand the concept thing, that's bollocks, and they should have had a proper Scorpions logo on the front. It's Humanity Hour 1. James Michael and Desmond Child came in as producers on this and co-writers. Some like classic rock really slagged this off, but Hour 1 is a really catchy track. Then you got The Game of Life, which is good. We Were Born to Fly, great track. Future Never Dies, not so keen on that. You're Loving Me to Death, quite catchy, quite good fun. Andres Carlson writes on that. He's a Max Martin guy. 3, 2, 1, really good rocker with a low tuning. Love Will Keep Us Alive, nice ballad. We Will Rise Again, not into that. Your Last Song, okay ballad. Love Is War, like that. And then The Cross in Humanity, 2 really good finishing tracks. Really like The Cross. I'd give this, I think at the time I was like, it's 8.5 out of 10. I'd give it a 7 out of 10. And, you know, the album that beats it to 11th place is Unbreakable. So this is the album that is their comeback. You know, I use the phrase, sometimes it saw them getting back in the lane. It's got 13 tracks. It's a straight hard rock album with some contemporary elements, and there's lots of good tracks on this. New Generation, Love 'Em, Leave 'Em, Deep and Dark are all solid, but then you get the excellent Borderline, Blood Too Hot, the brilliant, almost Berlin style power ballad, Maybe I, Maybe You, excellent. Some Days Now, My City, My Town, good solid tracks. Then Through My Eyes, Can You Feel It, This Time, excellent. And then She Said, a nice little ballad, and then Remember the Good Times. It says here Retro Garage Mix. There's a few co-writers on this again. Dreamers and Too Far were other Japanese bonus tracks, but I remember getting this album and it was like, actually, if it's probably lacking something, it doesn't have a bad track on it, it probably just needs a few more great tracks. It hasn't got a signature track, and I kind of think Humanity Hour 1 maybe has, but it's a good record, and the Scorpions really needed to do this. They toured with Judas Priest in the UK with this, and they were fucking incredible. Good record. So into the top 10. Number 10, Savage Amusement. I've done a classic album inspection of this. I'm not talking about it too much. What this album is good. It's got some really top songs, and I like it. I give it a 7 out of 10 and 7.5. The problem is it lacks a real classic, and that was its undoing. It came at a time when the market was kind of saturated, and they overproduced it. But I do think it's a good record, and I think people should give it another listen. So my number 9 choice, and I'm really pleased to put this in here, and I think this placing is about right, it's Rock Believer. Obviously this is their most recent studio album. Really good. This track I don't like is When I Lay My Bones to Rest. I'm not that fussed about that. But I really like the bonus tracks as well. Maybe, Unleash the Beast. I quite like that. I think this is easy an 8 out of 10. I think it's infinitely the best, and there's bonus tracks as well. There's a UK bonus track called Hammersmith. I haven't listened to that. Listen to the other 2. Why don't they just put everything on one CD and be done? Anyway, I think this is a good record. I like the production. It's raw. I think Matthias, it's his best solos in a while. Although on I think it's Roots in My Boots, there's a track where he does a guitar harmony, his pitching's off, which I'm like, oh please, could you not corrected that? But he's got some great tracks on it. Shining of Your Soul's brilliant. Colour of the Wild's really good. You got When You Know Where You Come From's a really good ballad. It's the only ballad on the album, and it's a good one. Mikkey Dee. I've said actually, this lineup of the Scorpions I think is the best. I think Mikkey Dee's the best drummer they've had. I think Pal's the really good bass player, and really good stage presence, better even than Francis Buchholz. Obviously, this hasn't come at a time when all the band, I think Klaus is, he's losing a bit of his range, but anyway. But yeah, good arrangement, short and sweet. Get the bonus edition, get as many tracks as you can of that. Okay, number 8, again, maybe a bit controversial how low it is, but this is an album, it is a classic, but it's kind of missing some things. It's Love at First Sting. So this is the biggest album. It's got the biggest track, Rock You Like a Hurricane. Bad Boys Run Around, Rock You Like a Hurricane, great. I Love I'm Leaving You, Love Coming Home. The Same Thrills, kind of a bit daft. Big City Nights is great. As Is Still Loving You. As Soon as Good Times Roll, Cross the Fire. They're good, but they're just not great deep cuts. So it's a 7 or an 8 out of 10. It's got some amazing tracks, but these days I don't quite love it as much as I used to. But there's some fantastic playing and writing on this album. So my next up, this is where it's starting to get more difficult, but I'm going to put Animal Magnetism in here. I think this is the album that kind of gets forgotten about it bit where it comes, but it's a really great record. Make It Real, Don't Make No Promises, brilliant. Hold Me Tight I Like, 20th Century Man's okay. Lady Starlight, beautiful ballad. Then the great deep cut rocker, Falling in Love, music and lyrics by Herman Rarebell, thank you Herman. Only a Man's okay, and you got the classic The Zoo, and then Animal Magnetism, that kind of ethereal dark track at the end. 3910, this is one of those 1980 releases that's kind of, it's a bit in the shadow of, British Steel and Heaven and Hell and that, but it's a really good record. So my wildcard entry, I'm coming in at number 6, I'm putting Tokyo Tapes in there. Basically a classic live album. And this is an album that a lot of people would get first and would be the introduction to the Scorpions. So, it's a big summation of the Uli era. And like UFO Strange in the Night or Unleashed in the East, it's probably quite a gateway album for people. I didn't come to it later on in life, but I think it's really good. Bar a crap rock and roll hound dog thing. Uriah Heep did that as well, the Simple Like That, in Japan and stuff like that. But it's just got great versions of tracks you get all night long. And Suspend a Love as well, which aren't on studio releases. The band's so tight, and incendiary performances from the whole band, but particularly Uli capturing that era. So, it's kind of like when a live album's, it's almost like an introduction to studio albums, and that's why I'm putting it in, and it makes it up to 20 albums, not people. Okay, so now it gets very difficult. You've got 5 albums, and any one of these could switch around, but maybe not number 1. So today I'm going for Taken by Force at number 5. I think this is a great record. Steamrock Fever, We'll Burn the Sky, they don't need any introduction, but I Gotta Be Free's a really cool album track, as is The Right of Your Time. Cells of Quran, what can be said about this track? The guitar solo in the intro basically fucking throws us into the 80s. Fantastic. Your Light, really nice Hendrixy sort of funky track. He's a Woman, She's a Man. Dodgy lyrics aside, they've always been dodgy, haven't they? The Scorpions, those bloody album covers, really good. And then Born to Touch Your Feelings, a really interesting power ballad. And that's it's kind of starting that thing where they have the big ballad at the end. You get Suspend a Love as a bonus track as well, on the CD. Really good. I think it's a great record. It was 39 minutes, they're all short and to the point. Okay, so my next choice is In Trance. Again, things could switch. This was the first Uli era album I heard. Dark Lady, In Trance, Life's Like a River, Top of the Bill, brilliant. Living and Dying. Side 1's excellent. Excellent song arrangements, brilliant. Singing, excellent playing. Uli, fucking hell. They got Robot Man, great fun, kind of fun sort of rock and roll style track with a great solo. So it's after that, it probably tails a bit, but Evening Wind's really good, really atmospheric. Sun in My Hand I didn't used to like, but I do like it live. I saw Uli play it live recently. It's great when they do those harmony guitars. And then Longing for Fire's a really cool later track with a great lead break. And then there's the instrumental Nightlight. So maybe not as consistent as Taken by Force, I don't know, but those tracks, particularly side one, are so good. So I think I'm kind of, you know what, I'm going to change. So I'm going for number 3 today. I'm going for Blackout. This classic 1982 album along with Number of the Beast and Screaming for Vengeance. Blackout, Can't Live Without You, No One Like You, brilliant. You give me all you give me all I need. Not quite as good, but still good. Now this begins sort of having the mad rocker at the end. Side one formula. I think this is better than the other ones they did, like The Same Thrill. Matthias's guitar work on this album's great. He's really competing with what's going on in guitar in 1982 by this point. He's taken a while to get there. Dynamite, brilliant. Arizona, nice commercial rocker. China Right, epic, and finishes with a lovely ballad, When the Smoke Is Going Down. One of the key albums of 1982. But I think I'm just having it pipped by Virgin Killer. Although maybe not as consistent, I've just got to have this in there. It's one of the key heavy metal albums of its time. Hard rock albums, Picture Life, Catchy Train, In Your Park, Backstage Queen. Fucking brilliant. Brilliant guitar solos by Uli, great vocals by Klaus, cool lyrics. Then you got Virgin Killer. I don't like that as much as the previous track, but it's really good. Klaus does insane vocals and it works really well. Then you've got Hellcat, which is probably my least favourite track, and then Crying Days is brilliant. And then actually power ballad finishes the album Yellow Raven, plus Polar Nights, which I'm not quite as keen on, but you got Yellow Raven, beautiful. So my number 1 album, no surprise, is Love Drive. I think this gets a number 1 spot is consistency. It's only 8 tracks, but there's not a bad track on this album. They're all brilliant. They're all kind of got a great variety. It's great having Michael there. It is more kind of formularised, and they will copy this sort of shape for the remainder of their career. But it's that album that kind of breaks them internationally. It goes gold in America. It gets more traction in the UK, and they become the kind of top hard rock outfit. They get Matthias in. They lose the Hendrix psychedelia, and they become this lean machine. It's kind of got more dafter lyrics, but it stays the right side for me, and it's one of the great hard rock albums. So those are my 20 19 studio albums and my little live album in there. The Scorps, looking at it, they they've certainly made 13 albums to me out of all those that are really worth listening to. I don't think they're quite as consistent as they could have been. But when they're great, they're great. Okay, thanks for checking this, and I'll see you again soon. Remember, share and subscribe. Thank you very much.